UFC 270 is going to involve a fight, the 125-pound strap. Brandon Moreno from Tijuana, Mexico, is facing off against Davidson Figueiredo from Brazil. So let me talk about this for a moment here. I can imagine the UFC is salivating over the concept of having a Mexican champion because when Cain Velasquez was able to attain the heavyweight strap, they were pushing very hard as Mexican heritage, trying to open up a new market. And of course, we all know of the historic legacy of Mexico and various champions in combat sports. For example, just in modern day, you have Canelo Alvarez, you have Ryan Garcia, you also have in the past names like Oscar De La Hoya. But it's a very big market that the UFC is trying to really get into. And having a Mexican born champion is a big way to do so. But let's take a look at it. So, first, I have a little bit of an issue with this fight. The thing is, Davidson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno have fought 3 times in a row. I mean, I just I can't get behind that. Fighting 3 times in a row, back to back to back, is a problem. Holds up a division. For example, there's other names like Askar Askarov, who well deserves a title shot. I mean, he definitely deserves it. However, he's not getting the opportunity because they've been fighting since 2020. This should be the last time they fight. No, I honestly mean that because this isn't my prediction. I'm just saying in theory. For example, if Brandon Moreno were to lose, they would have one win for Figueiredo, one for Moreno, and a draw. Don't have a fourth fight. I mean, you could have one maybe later down the road in 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, granted, Figueiredo isn't a spring chicken anymore. He's older now. He's 34 years old. But we've seen in the UFC that you can fight and compete at a very high level going to 36, 7, 8, 9. I'm not going to bring up Randy Couture because he is just a man on a different planet, all right? He fighting at 45, competing, winning championships at that age. That's just astronomical. But we see high level competition coming from these 37, 38, 39-year-olds. We could definitely see that for Figueiredo. He's arguably one of the greatest 125 pounders ever this side of Demetrius Johnson. Because we all know what DJ was able to do in his time in the UFC. No one has been able to match that level of champion caliber to that of Demetrius Johnson. But we cannot downplay how great Davidson Figueiredo has been throughout his career. But let's get to the fight itself. So in the previous bout, when they ended in a draw, Figueiredo was actually winning the fight. However, he did get penalized due to repeated groin strikes, which granted, of course, point deduction. You hit someone below the belt, you deserve a point deduction, and that's why it happened. But ended up getting fight of the night honors. I believe it was fight of the year. But then UFC 263. Brandon Moreno, so he is a phenomenal Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu master. They both are actually in their own respects. But Brandon Moreno was able to take the back in the third round of Davidson Figueiredo, get a beautiful body triangle. He attempted the first rear naked, didn't work out. Figueiredo had his hand in between the forearm and the neck, able to get just a little bit of space, which gave him a possibility to defend it. But Moreno realized, hey, I'm not going to be able to really do much more from that position. Releases that attempt at a rear naked, gets some strikes, and then beautifully gets his forearm under the neck, locks it in, makes Davidson Figueiredo tap, which is astounding. And he became the first Mexican-born champion in UFC history, which is tremendous in its own right. But if we take a look now at the fight, so I'm gonna make my prediction here. I believe Brandon Moreno is gonna win this fight. Why do I think that? I think this is Brandon Moreno's time. It's going to be an opportunity for him to really come up and develop. And yes, if you look at his record, you're like, hey, he has 5 losses. What's going on there? Well, a lot of his losses came prior to 2019. He really started to hit his stride in 2019. He did have that draw against Askar Askarov. It was a split draw. It happens. But to beat Kai France, Formiga, Royval, and then he got his title opportunity, drew against Figueiredo. When the Figueiredo is at the height of his powers, people are thinking, hey, This is his time. He can't be beat. He just came off 2 wins against Benavidez, beat Tim Elliott, beat Pantoja, and Alex Perez. So we're thinking, this is it. This is the guy. This is the guy who's going to carry the 125-pound division for a while. Moreno comes in, absolutely shocking performance. If you were going in, you have to remember, going into this fight, you don't look at it saying Brandon Moreno is going to be able to shock the world. You don't. You think Figueiredo is going to be able to have a great performance and he's going to be able to secure his belt. And he almost did. He won on the scorecards, if not for the point deduction, which of course he deserved. And then Brandon Moreno gets the second fight. Give him a rematch because, of course, you're coming off a draw. You need to figure out who's the best fighter out of these two guys. So you take it, June 12th, 2021. Figueiredo, I believe, was not as poised as he usually was. Doing a lot of wild shots. He was being very open. It didn't look good. But I wouldn't say he was definitively losing the match. I wouldn't say he was losing the match at all. But then Moreno, with his exceptional Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I've never seen a man get his hooks in so quickly against a high-level fighter. And he did, got the body triangle, and like I said, got the rear naked, and that was all she wrote. Brandon Moreno became champion. And I feel like if Brandon Moreno is going to win this fight, it's going to be, once again, with his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu prowess. I don't think he's ever even gotten a knockout in his career. He's got 3 knockouts, 11 finishes by submission. Gonna put your money on it. It's gonna be a submission. I'm predicting, give me a second round submission victory for Brandon Moreno. Do I think it's gonna be a rear naked? If it's a rear naked again, that's bold. I just don't see it being a rear naked again. I feel like Figueiredo is gonna be really predicting that. If I'm gonna guess the submission, I'm gonna go armbar. Armbar is my guess. Or a crazy Darce. If he gets a Darce, Darce is one of my favorite submissions in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If he gets a Darce, round of applause. Round of applause. But Tijuana is once again going to have their champion. Mexico's going to have their champion. And Brandon Moreno is going to go fight in Mexico City. Guaranteed. If anyone knows Dana White wants to maximize the amount of money he can make. How much more money can you make than a Mexican champion fighting in Mexico City? That's all I got to say. Brandon Moreno is going to win. Submission victory.